So good morning all. A very warm welcome to all the audience and to our distinguished guests for the TeamLease Digital Telecom and Professional Staffing Hiring Trends. Uh, so I would just like to introduce our distinguished panel on this webinar, Colonel Yogesh Arya, who's the Associate Director for Energy and Telecom at Ramboll, India. Colonel Arya has been working with Ramboll over the last 15 years and was instrumental in transformation and has worn various hats and was also he faced a primary role in the company's growth in the areas of electrical and electronics. Colonel Arya has got about more than 35 years of rich experience in the areas of strategic planning, project execution, operations and maintenance, and team management. A qualified BSc from National Defense Academy and MTech in electronics, Colonel Arya believes in learning and scale to be at the forefront of his journey. So a warm welcome to you, Colonel Arya. And Dr. Surendra, a master engineer in design of process machines and University of Allahabad, brings in more than 32 years of work experience across the telecom and infrastructure sector. He was earlier associated with Bharti Infratel Limited and Reliance Communications. His journey has been exciting with 11 years in optical fiber manufacturing and 20 years in telecommunications. He has successfully led projects in operations and maintenance of passive telecom infrastructure sites across the country. So a warm welcome to you as well, Dr. Surendra.
Thanks, Naren. Thank you so much.
Sunil Chembankotil, who's the head of specialized staffing for TeamLease Digital. Sunil has 25 years of diverse industry experience. He has been in the staffing industry for more than 15 years and donned various leadership roles. He currently heads specialized staffing with TeamLease Digital. He's passionate about solving the digital people supply challenge to propel India growth story. Sunil is an ardent runner and have completed several marathons. With that, we would start the webinar, and I would like Sunil to take over and just help us in giving a brief snippet about the launch of the Employment Outlook report for the professional staffing and telecom. Over to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Naren, and a warm welcome to all the panelists and all the people who have logged in and are viewing this. Thank you for taking time out. Let me dive, deep into why this webinar and what was the reason for this. So we recently launched a professional staffing report. And when we say professional staffing report, we have seen various important reports in the IT segment. So we thought of looking at the core sectors like telecom, engineering, and healthcare, which are not being in that much discussion of late because of the IT boom in the recent last 2 years. So we did a detailed research, and some of our findings were really exciting for us. So the three industries put together are going to create 12 million new jobs. That's a phenomenal, growth story to catch on to. And then when we further dive deep into the telecom sector, a sector which is a core of all of us, all of us know that without mobile phones, without connectivity, we don't exist, including the webinar. What we are doing is just because of the network and, the way we are able to interact with all of us, thanks to telecom industry. So we had a very slow growth in the telecom industry, I would say, because of various challenges in terms of the policies and various other reasons which led to a flat growth in telecom for the last few years. So when we looked at telecom, and we are on the verge of something phenomenal happening in this industry as well. The telecom employment is going to move from 4 million to 6 million by 2026, which means that 2 million new jobs are going to get created. And when we looked at the market size for 5G and white space spectrum mobile is going up to $477 million. and Telecom Infrastructure and Development around $104 billion, and app and gaming industry is going to capture some significant portion, close to $1 billion, and mobile virtual network operations is going to capture around $16 billion market. So overall, when we looked at this segment, there is a phenomenal growth, and this is the growth story we all have been waiting for. Particularly in the telecom industry, we have gone through this for many years now. I think time has come where the telecom industry is going to grow phenomenally, and it is going to contribute 8% to the national GDP by 22. It is already contributing 8% by 2022, and we are expecting that this will grow further. And the 5G itself, when I look at 5G technology, it's going to contribute around 450 billion by 2025. So that's a phenomenal story. And one important aspect when we looked at this industry is that the telecom industry is always been there. There are a lot of roles and employment which it is creating. But in the next phase of growth, we found that the specialized roles are going to capture 16% of the employment share by 2026. What do you mean by specialized staff, specialized roles? Specialized roles are roles where you require some higher level, higher order, skills and expertise. And do we have enough talent in with those skills? My answer would be a mix of yes and no. We do have certain people who are already upskilled and are available to take up those roles. But when you look at the growth trajectory which this industry is expecting, we have to repair, prepare, and upskill the future generation. So all in all, I feel that there is a huge growth story, and the roles which are going to take up, I think we will delve deep into this when we speak to our eminent panelists and understand how they see from their point of view being the employers. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Sunil. It was quite insightful and encouraging to know all the growth trends and the inputs that you have given on the professional staffing outlook. Colonel Arya, if I may ask you on the views, on your views with regards to the telecom employment trends and the general hiring growth trends associated with this sector.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm really thankful to TeamLease for making me part of this webinar, and thanks to Mr. Sunil and Mr. Naren and my fellow panelist, Mr. Dr. Surinder Singh, and all the audience who are here and who are eagerly waiting to hear from us what's going to be there for their future. I would say in one line, the future is very bright. And as you know, we have just come out of the COVID, and we're still there, but we are more or less out of it. Let's hope we don't have the fourth wave. And the COVID has actually tested the telecom network. All of you were working from home, and it was a big challenge for the telecom industry, and they have come out with flying colors. Hats off to the field staff who has been working day in, day out, and ensuring that the network is 100% available. And people are also see, we don't know, we don't understand the importance of this telecom network unless our call drops or we can't hear the network. So that way, if you see, our telecom people have done a wonderful job, and especially now the requirement had shifted to the home. So we had a lot of broadband requirements. There was a lot of those teething troubles initially people had. So network had to be accordingly challenged, and they had to shift the priorities, and a lot of work was done. And this report, what TeamLease has come out with, is a very detailed and a very nice report, what they have shared with us. So basically what Mr. Sunil also brought out, it's going to grow from 4 million to 6 million by 2026. So there's a huge growth which you can see, and especially this 5G coming in, and hoping that by September we have the auctions, and that would, as it is, all the operators are preparing for the 5G rollout, and people have started deploying the equipment. So 5G again is going to be a game changer. So Like if you remember 2G, then the 3G, well, 3G had a very short life cycle. Thereafter, the 4G has been there. So every decade we are getting a new technology, and this 5G is going to be staying for quite some time because the speeds and the latencies, what we are looking at, are very high. So here the requirement of technical manpower would be much higher. So the requirements of like what you have brought out, the network engineer is the highest till now, and the security IT engineers about their next high. And thereafter we required artificial intelligence and machine learning. So AI and ML is going to go up going further if we go into the 5G, because the 5G is more of Internet of Things. So here your requirements would be more towards AI and machine learning. And the new technologies which we are talking of, you must have heard Facebook has changed their name to Meta. So there's something called Metaverse now which has come in. So in this Metaverse, basically we are talking of augmented reality. So everything would be virtual. So you would be sitting in a room and virtually speaking to somebody somewhere far away in US or anywhere. So it would be a virtual reality. So here there would be a lot of requirement of gaming professionals skill set, because as of now we are more towards AI and ML, but the next step is gaming professionals. So these people also do a lot of scenario creations and all those things. So that metaverse, which is going to be another big game changer going forward. So there you would require more of these gaming experts in your teams. So yeah, and what you have brought out, that the top cities for the employment were in Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, and Bangalore, and Chandigarh. And basically, we had a good trajectory of growth in this. So that's what I would like to start with. And it's a very good report what you have given. People should go through it and get some idea what we are trying to bring out. Thank you.
Thanks, Colonel Arya. Thank you for sharing us the future skills that are critical for the requirement, and also on touching upon the criticality of the networks, especially how it was managed during the COVID. As you rightly said, unless and until the network goes down, no one realizes the importance of a telecom passive network. Thank you for those insights, Colonel Arya. Dr. Pal, the question to you is, in your opinion, the report reflects on the top specialized roles in telecom. What can be the futuristic skills? Though Colonel Arya did mention upon a few of the skills, what according to you can also be the futuristic skills? And also, do you see any talent gap in such skills?
Thanks, Naren, and good morning to everyone, those who are on the call, and all the people, those who have joined from outside. So wishing you a very, very good morning. Taking from here what sometimes back Sunil said, and Colonel Arya also mentioned, what is our requirement for the specialized job in the telecom sector particularly. So if you look at the COVID-19 has accelerated this growth of telecom sector phenomenally. See, this was growing, but the sudden need of network or the say the requirement of traffic requirement, which was not rising at this speed, suddenly grown to such an extent that at times it became little difficult for the mobile network operator to provide or keep everybody connected. Now it is touching everybody's life, not only in the sectors or in the government or in the industry. Even our personal lives are not without telecom. Today, we cannot think of our life, private life, personal life, family life, or the industry without network. So network has become a very, very integral part of each one of us. Now, the pressure network operators are feeling today, that how can they provide a very reliable, sustainable network and also cope up with this sudden change or sudden surge which is now demanded by the scenario which is created world over due to COVID-19. So this was a really, really a great challenge, and thanks to all the telecom infrastructure which was available worldwide, that we could provide all these services to the people, and the impact is not so much. Of course, it had impacted, but if you largely see that we could keep the pace with the increase in the services or the quality of the services. So as of now, what is becoming critical for us, one is that we need to ensure that we are able to maintain the quality of the network and also keep pace with the requirement, the traffic requirement, which is now emerging out. Also, now there are technological changes. So we started thinking beyond a mobile network. As Arya was talking sometimes back, that now we are moving towards 5G, which will enable us connect IoT, connect millions of devices, digital devices, and which will require a very high level of latency for its operations. So even the skill requirement also will change according to the technological requirement. Also, because of our social needs, because of our operational needs. So the telecom network operations in itself has to have a very high level of reliability and sustainability. And also we need to keep pace with the technological changes. So the requirement as of now would be on twofold. We can look at it. One is that what infrastructure is available today. We will have to see three rather, I can put it in the three ways, that we'll have to look for three aspects. One is that it is reliable. All the time it is available. It is sustainable and it is secure. The third dimension, since we started operating from home, now the third dimension, which is crucial for customers, which is crucial for the operators also, that our network is safe. There are instances we all have witnessed. The security has become very, very critical part of it. So this is a new thing which we have. The focus has recently increased into that domain. That every network which is available today, when we are talking on this, are we really safe on this Zoom platform? Is it okay? So are we secure here? So the security, network security, cyber security, and that increased requirement. So these are the two very, very critical things which are coming for the existing network. And when we go away from this, that what is the future? We are much beyond. Now, even if today we look at, we are much beyond this 4G requirement. Everybody has started looking at 5G. What will 5G provide to us? Will it change our life? The obvious answer is yes. Not everybody's life will be changed with the advent of 5G. When we will have 5G, so will be the requirement for the maintenance, architecture, and operations of that 5G network.
I have one doubt here, Dr. Pal, just as a follow-up question to or whatever you are explaining. You said that the network needs to, be reliable. It should be able to adapt to the future requirements. Are you suggesting that the existing infrastructure available in India is good enough to, take the load of the growing requirement in the telecom industry, or there is also a improvement required? Obviously, when we move from 4G to 5G, there is some upgradation of the network which will happen with the existing infra, but do you also see that there is a requirement to increase the infrastructure?
Obviously, Sunil, there is a requirement even today to increase, because all our network are stressed now today. So there is an immediate requirement for expansion of the network. And the second, also it has to go automated. So its testing has to be automated. We will have to ensure there are steps in which we will have to perform. That we will have to put an intelligent network or take help from AI, so that we are able to test what is the threshold at which we are operating today. And can our network today take the load of the increased traffic? If that is not done, we will, in the very near future, we will not be able to even keep the pace with the increased network in the existing setup. Forget about 5G. 5G will definitely bring much more pressure on us, because this 5G will be operating on very low frequencies. And when we operate on very low frequencies, your latency is good, We will have a high latency, but your infrastructure requirement will increase multifold.
So you are saying that the infrastructure, there is a increased requirement for growing the infrastructure. There is also a requirement to improve the existing network, because there it is stressed and it needs to be prepared to take the future load. And you're also saying that there is an upgradation. So all in all, what we can gather from this discussion is that obviously for the general public it is a huge boon when all this happens, but from the point of view of employers and job seekers, you are suggesting that the report what we came out and the findings what we came out, that there is a huge opportunity in the employment is in some way going to see the light. Yeah.
Sunil, even in your report, when you say 12 to 16% increase in the network engineers requirement, which we obviously see, further things are, as I personally look at it, because since 4G network is no more enough for today now, because when we go to connecting millions of digital devices, and when they have to be put into very small area, say 1 square meter, 1 square kilometer of area will require say millions of IoT devices operating within that. Infrastructure need will definitely be very, very high. That's what I look at it in next maybe 4-5 years, or not even 4-5 years, could be little earlier. It could be little earlier that we will be requiring that level of infrastructure, and so is the need for our engineers who will operate and maintain this network, and also the developers, network architectures. Network architecture requirement is sort of equally high. That's what I personally feel, because this 5G is a little different than the 4G technology wise. So technology wise also there will be an upgradation required for maintenance and for the services. Even optical fiber cables or optical fiber network will play a very, very important role in the time to come, because all these devices of 5G, they can work without having this optical connectivity from one tower to another tower. Tower infrastructure will be modified. That may not be typically macro towers which we used to have. Now that can maybe is coming to a pole or a smaller side, it could be put on a building, but there will be numbers, phenomenal increase in the numbers, because this has to collect the data from all the devices, and on very low latency they will have to operate and communicate. So that's what I see. I look at it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think. Thank you so much for diving deep and giving those details to us. Over to you, Naren.
Yeah. Thanks. In fact, thanks, Dr. C, for showing the 3 dimensions on the for the maintaining a high latency of maintaining the high latency on telecom networks. Reliability, sustainability, and security are the 3 dimensions. Thanks for wonderfully putting it across. Colonel Arya, in your previous answer, you did touch upon 5G networks, and briefly, if you can delve a little bit deeper into the scale of the 5G and the mobile app and gaming segment, and if you can just reflect on that a bit, your opinion on that would be much appreciated.
What Dr. Singh has also tried to bring out, this 5G would require a lot of new cell sites. So they are called small cells. So there would be a huge requirement of small cells, and a backhaul for these again would be a big challenge. So there you require the fiber for high speeds and latency. So it's going to be a sort of a much different network from whatever we have been seeing. You won't be seeing those big towers now. There would be small, that's called street furniture, which is going to come in. And in Ramboll, we designed these street furniture, and which would be again camouflaged. You won't be able to make out there's a tower there. So that's what is going to be there. And we are actually supplying in Middle East also these camouflage towers. They look like just minarets there. And so now presently, whenever you take a photograph of the skyline, you just see telecom towers, so which actually spoil the skyline. But going forward, this is going to be much different, and the requirement of infrastructure for 5G, especially when we are talking of 35 and 3600 this 3.5 gigahertz and 3.6 gigahertz. So at that high frequencies, your requirement of these cells would be much higher, and that would lead to requirement of more manpower. So that would again maintaining and operating and the network architecture like Mr. Singh has brought out. So all that would require much higher efforts and more teamwork from there. So that would lead to a lot of more jobs. And like you have brought out in your report, there are three main categories what you're looking at: network engineer, security engineer, IT, and technical architects. So here, like he had brought out, the security of cyber security would play a major role. Especially during this COVID times, you must have seen there were a lot of cyber attacks.
Yes.
There were a lot of cyber attacks, and especially my company, we have a huge firewall, and in spite of that, there was a lot of these cyber attacks. So these security engineers would be playing a major role going forward, and having so many networks and this, so security would play a major role, because data is gold now. Data is a new petroleum.
Yeah.
So you data you cannot play around, and so there the security would be playing a major role. And moving to mobile app and gaming, so basically again the network engineer, your software developers and technical leads would be playing major role. And like I brought out, this mobile app and gaming people would also move towards the metaverse. That's what.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect of metaverse. I wanted to know more about that, because the world is already speaking about metaverse and decentralized land, people purchasing decentralized land, the marketing moving to meta. And, I know that most of the organizations are already planning for a meta marketing investment. And when all this happens, obviously it is a boon for the telecom and telecom infrastructure business, because the data bite size will be much bigger. And as you rightly said, the protection of those, the cyber security aspect. And I mean, you are going to have all kinds of people using metaverse, just not the people who are interested in gaming, but also for advertising. And I know that there is a American multinational who is already setting up an office in decentralized land, so that you can visit their offices in the meta environment. I mean, it looks like we are going to live in a different world. What's your view on what's happening in this space?
So actually, the big three are totally gung ho about this metaverse. Okay, so they see. I'll just give you some background on this. What has happened with artificial intelligence? So basically, most of the data is lying with the factories or industry, which is not available to this big three. So that's why artificial intelligence is going on the backseat, and they created another thing called metaverse. Okay, to have their business going. So in this metaverse, so basically you have an immersive experience. You have a virtual reality there. So like Facebook has come out with an ocular device, which is similar to your VR camera, virtual reality camera. So you would feel the third dimension also. Till now we are just in two dimension. You can feel the third dimension, and you can have a nice talk with the other person, and you feel as if you're sitting together. And this would again look at they have those big games where all people can't reach the stadium. So you'll have a virtual this thing, you can sit at home and see the game in the third dimension also. So there are going to be a lot of things on which they're working. From the gaming point of view, I'm just saying, because all this requires a lot of motion and three-dimensional activity, which is already being taught in the gaming scenario. There are certain games which are again now into third dimension. So there you feel that as if you are really fighting, and you are most of the games are on the more of the military tactics and all those things, or your car this thing. So all that will help in this metaverse.
So you need more people to create these kind of environments and this entire thing. So more jobs.
More jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Dr. Pal, in the same context, even off late, especially post-COVID, we saw growth in remote working skills, and also there is a huge dearth in the kind of skills that are required as well to fulfill this demand. So how did the key roles in network operation skills emerge with this huge demand? And do you see AI and ML roles as strongly needed for scale and performance growth in this sector?
Naren, I will just build up what we were discussing some time back with the Colonel Yogesh, Arya. See, remote working has become a need. We were not prepared to it. We were not all prepared to it, but that has come to us and we will have to take head on. So at that time, it brought a lot of risk associated with the remote working. So what was the first risk, as I was talking sometimes back was the security, data security. Because earlier we were not having so much of remote working. People were going to the offices. Now when we started everything remotely, the data has increased multifold. Then there came service quality degradation because of the sudden increase in the traffic load. So service quality started degrading it. Third dimension or the third risk which came was delayed manufacturing and delivery system. We were not prepared. In fact, our logistics were not prepared, or supply chain was not prepared for this. One is that we couldn't manufacture, and whatever was available in the manufacture, we couldn't deliver to the sites. So these risks immediately came with our remote working. Now to mitigate these risks, what we could immediately do, and what is next requirement? How do we handle this? Because it has already come. We have no time, but this is already there. So even today, we will have to build, while we tried to manage this quality services or degradation of quality because of the increased traffic. As Sunil also was mentioning sometime back, that available infrastructure was again put to stress, and then we could manage somehow the increased traffic. But this cyber part of it, or security part of it, or network security part of it took little time for us. Even today, we are not much prepared to that. There we still need more technology safe cyber security. Here the technological even improvement is needed. In addition to what workforce we have, even the skilled or reskilled people are required to handle this.
You mean to say that there is a thin line between when you say IT, earlier people used to think only cyber security is required for IT, but I think the priority is also already moved here, and the requirement is going to be much more. So we will see a huge requirement of network security and cyber security experts in this industry as well, particularly with the kind of imaginations and the new world we are creating. More important that, we also have to be protected, because we don't know, you go and play a game in metaverse and, you lose all your money.
Yeah. Absolutely. So this is what is an area which I personally see that it is affecting everyone's life. And everybody started feeling this cybersecurity aspect. It is now even easy to understand to anybody. You can tell, because at one time or the other, they got a victim to this. Either they lost some money while they were surfing through internet on the mobile, or some other network, hacking or something has happened. So that's obviously now is felt very badly. And my personal views are, yes, this will require a higher level of technological development and people requirement to handle this. Second was on the growth. One is that this is what the existing. And the growth part is again asking a lot of new technology and a lot of people, those who will be required to generate that and operate and maintain that. I think this is what at this moment looks like how the telecom infrastructure would be.
Very, very interesting times ahead, I think.
It seems to be very interesting, and it will put a lot of pressure. Even the educational institutes and all wherever
So the pressure can only be released if you have more manpower, and that's what this is all about. I think more jobs, more people, creating more opportunities, and I think for the future to take all this load, I think more people need to join the workforce.
and very specialized, as you rightly said when you were in the report, that this was a professional workforce.
Yeah.
This can't be traditional, and at times maybe a little difficult to continue with the existing workforce. We will have to bring a new blood or new skill into the system.
Thank you so much.
That's what it looks like. Thank you.
Arya, my question to you, since Dr. Singh did mention about the threats, especially on the networks and all, how prepared are the organizations today for any either the threat to the network or cyber security threat? And what kind of talent would be required to bridge this particular gap?
Yeah, see, cybersecurity was not that high priority till the time we went COVID and this thing, because that was at enterprise level. You were trying to have those enterprise level security and all those things were there. But now you're working from home and everybody is gullible to these cyber attacks. So here, another thing which a lot of companies are doing, they are training their people directly itself that please be careful when you are opening any mails or any links. So they keep, like in our company, we have a something called software which comes and we get a mail, training mail from them, giving out that, oh, you have got so much a lottery, you click this and you'll get that. So if you open that, he says, sorry, you failed in the test. So that way we are training our people, and we are being more ready for these things. But at the back end, we have to develop a lot of tools with the firewalls have to be created and try and stop this phishing which is going on. And you'll be surprised to hear or know that these are coming from our small towns in Jharkhand or UP. From there, the people are trying to fish our the city people in Bombay, Delhi, and Hyderabad. And we are gullible. We are getting caught in these things. And the other thing, what I talked about is the data security. So that's another big challenge. So there, a lot of firewall is required. So again, you require this IT security people, and their requirement is going to be huge. And that's a big challenge. And we have to upgrade our teams now, like what Dr. Singh has brought out, that we may require fresh talent for that, or we upgrade our teams. So that both ways we have to look at moving towards this IT security.
Solution is repair, prepare, and upskill. That's on one side. I mean, there are jobs, but to take those jobs, obviously, the talent, the job seekers need to repair, prepare, and upskill. I have an interesting thought or interesting question to this aspect. You know, we are also talking about the evolution of IoT. It has been in a discussion for pretty long, but now we are seeing that, you know, the machines talking to machines, and, you know, we are able to operate machines without even physically being present at home. And within the large manufacturing setups, a lot of workflow is getting automated where, you know, you label the robots and they can do half of your work, and the accuracy levels have gone up from 70% to almost 95% now. All this means that, you know, there is definitely a fusion of technology, which is telecom, engineering, and, you know, all those things. So how do you see that, you know, we will be more susceptible, because now we are only talking about our networks getting protected, our office networks. Even the manufacturing segment is going to completely change in the future with IoT evolution, and once the 5G is rolled out, I think there is an explosion of IoT which can happen. So do you also see a huge opportunity there, and what are the areas where we should focus there?
Well, so I'll just bring out for this what you had brought out for IoT for factories and other places. So there we would actually require a sort of a private network. Okay, so which is again like an enterprise network. So people are setting up their own private network for their factories. Like you must have heard, it has happened in Germany. So your Volkswagen has come out and they have set up the factory with their own enterprise network. So here you won't be dependent on Airtel or Voda or anything, but Airtel Voda are also working here in these fields and creating these enterprise networks. So they would be within their campus using the network, and that would de-risk them from a lot of cyber attacks. So that would have a private network within their campus. And here again, your requirements are very high reliability, uh, high speeds. And so with those requirements, you would create that network. And that's another thing which is going to require specific people maintaining that and setting up those enterprise networks. And you'll be happy to know TCS is working on those enterprise networks globally, not in India. They're working globally.
Yeah.
So I was looking at this aspect along with my colleague in Denmark. So this is enterprise network is going to be another thing which is going to be required. And this would actually take care of your cyber attacks and all those things, and you have your own private network within your
again their huge employment opportunity and specialized roles. So this must be exciting times for you, all of you, that having seen telecom over last 2-3 decades, suddenly the complete landscape of telecom is changing with futuristic requirements and future different world altogether.
Yeah, another thing which I would like to bring out here. So basically, another thing which they are talking about is Open RAN. So that is Open RAN wherein you can cut paste from any other this thing. So we don't have to go to Ericsson's or Nokia's. So their bandwagon is actually at the question mark now. Especially Rakuten has come into this game and he is trying to bring out Open RAN now. So in the
Colonel Arya, I think we lost you over there.
Yeah, there are some technical glitches. He frozen.
Yeah. Okay.
I think before Colonel Arya comes back, I have one quick question to you, Dr. Singh. You did speak quite extensively about the latency of the network and the criticality of the telecom networks. Do you see that there would be some kind of an automation that would come in both in managing and maintaining the infrastructure?
I think this is very imperative, and we have no choice, because this automation has to happen as the scale grows. This in any way will not be possible to do it manually. So far in the 2G network, there were a lot of things we were able to do it manually. 3G came in for a very short period, and then 4G. Now going into the 5G and all, everything needs to be fully automated. Lot of data collection, lot of data factories will be there, and then there will be a system which will validate and throw a report saying that, okay, this is what is actually you required to do. Manually, it will be a Herculean task, and may not be even practical. This will not be practical. So all this, your artificial intelligence, machine learning, data scientist requirements, such requirement will definitely be increasing. But this network management and operations no more could be done with the traditional way it used to be done.
Thank you. Sorry, Colonel Arya, I think we lost you for a bit.
Some. So you understand telecom now. I'm sitting in office till it's happening. Yeah. Okay. So I was just talking about the Open RAN thing. So in the Open RAN, you'll have different people working together, and you create a network on your own. So that is again going to create a lot of jobs for people. So that's another thing they're talking about. And there's another thing they're talking about cloud edge. So you would be working much closer to the actuals. So unlike it's a cycle, you can say. Previously we were working on the edge, then we moved to the cloud. Now we are again moving back to cloud edge. So the cloud would be at the edge. So that's what they're talking of now. So because you have to take a lot of decisions at much faster level. So you are moving again back towards edge.
Thank you very much for this. I mean, before we move on to the Q&A, because we've already started receiving a lot of Q&As from our audience. One final question I would like to propose to the group is in terms of how important or critical analytics also will play in terms of the kind of data inputs that we need to collect and the kind of analytics that would play in maintaining the telecom infrastructure and the kind of skills that would also be required for this. If the question is open to the group, and feel free to answer.
Yeah, like Dr. Singh brought out, there's going to be a lot of automation. So automation requires a lot of machine learning, and you have to keep updating the data and learn from the previous this thing and take actions accordingly. So there's going to be a lot of automation, a lot of machine learning, a lot of artificial intelligence. So all that will be there. So there's no choice. We have to work on those. So AI and ML are there to stay. They won't go. So that is going to be there required for a long future. I don't think so. They can be done away with. So that is something which is always there, because all this, there's a lot of going to be automation, because latency and speed both are very important here, and you cannot take chances. So that's going to be very much required. Yeah. Dr.
Just adding to what Arya said, even this time of COVID had taught us or shown a path for a transformation from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance, yes, using AI. Yes. That's what the industry started doing it already. That okay, for preventive, you need to schedule, you have to go to the site, you need to do preventive maintenance. But now using AI, can we predict the failure? So very close to the reality you can go by using AI and ML, and look at that if there are predictions of some failure, maybe maintenance is needed. So even those maintenance area, which were very traditionally done in the way of preventive maintenance, how now moving to predictive. And this is only possible by using this technology of AI and ML. And this gives lot of inputs. You are able to see, you are able to derive a pattern, that how it is and when can it happen, when can it lead to, and you can modify even on the cost for say a preventive maintenance schedule. Say somebody in the past with their experience has scheduled a preventive maintenance or say a frequency of 6 months. Now with the predictive maintenance standard, when we saw, then nothing happens for 1 year. You can easily go. So your preventive maintenance, which used to be scheduled to say a 6-month basis, can now be taken to 1 year. Now we have the data, we have the input, and it is taking no risk. It's absolutely risk-free that we have the data, sufficient data to establish this fact that yes, today it is possible. So even this started happening now. And it's good. So even
you were saying that AI, ML, big data, data analytics, all these the digital skills are also going to be very important for the telecom industry. Which, if I have to, comprehend all the discussions what we have got the core, network infrastructure growth, which is going to happen, for which you need huge, number of employees. Then you're talking about network upgradation to reduce the stress. There again, you need people. We are talking about the futuristic gaming and app industry growing and going to metaverse. There you need a different skill set of people who come with a tinge of IT flavor. That's requirement. Then we are talking about cyber security to ensure that everything is protected. There you require a huge lot of people. We are also talking about data analytics, AI, ML, big data. So there so all in all, if I would say that, this is the best place to be in the telecom industry for all the job seekers. You definitely have a huge opportunity. I saw one of the questions from one of the people who joined in this webinar, that is there a salary increase which we can project? Obviously, because when you are moving in from a core roles to specialized roles, which we are all talking about, you come with a higher expertise, and these are specialized roles where you get higher salary. So it's time for most of the folks to upgrade themselves, which is repair, prepare, and upskill is a common thing which I use. One has to upskill themselves and keep learning the new technologies. You all have the domain expertise. It's just a matter of upskilling yourselves with the latest technologies and latest trends, and there you are, you are at a higher salary level, and you should not allow external industry people to come in here. You have to capture that market.
Very rightly said. Every discussion you have translated into the employment requirement very intelligently, and put it across that yes, all these stress which telecom sector is feeling today can very well be translated into the additional requirement of for the job or the staffing, and also very specialized. That's very correct. It is going to be a very specialized workforce, which will be now taking care of network, establishing the network, operating the network, and taking care of the security aspects of customers and the enterprises together.
This is a question from one of the audience members. How about, since there's so much of so many skills that are available, and there's a huge demand for all these skills that are relevant for the maintenance of the telecom networks. What about the training of workforce? I mean, are we prepared enough with the right set of manpower, or is there any kind of, does the industry expect any kind of training that would be required? And also, would this opportunity be only limited to India, or can we also foresee this opportunity to go global?
See, this is something which we all have to learn, that we have to keep learning throughout. So that is one thing. So we have to keep upskilling ourselves. So most of the companies do have a lot of training budget, and they do plan for training of their teams. So that is one part. And for an individual, I would suggest, like what we have brought out, that you have to be specialist. In case you want to grow somewhere, you have to be specialist, and your need should be there for the organization, that, oh, I can't leave this fellow. This fellow is the bright star for me, and he's top skilled in this. So you have to specialize, and like in the medical field, you have you do MBBS, then you do this thing MD, then you do super specialize into further into a liver or heart or something, and then again super specialized. So it's a requirement of the super specialized going forward, and that is what is going to increase your salaries also. So we have to look at all this and prepare ourselves for the future, and future is bright, and we have to keep working towards that. Yeah.
Thank you. One more question.
Naren, I saw one interesting question. Somebody asked that, do you see India talent catering to global markets in the telecom space? Like how you see the IT and other talent, developing tools and servicing various aspects of the global requirements? Do you also see that telecom, global delivery centers from India also picking up? Because this phenomena is not just happening in India; it's happening across the globe. There is a transformation of the telecom applicability across the globe. So there's an interesting question. So that also is a job creation opportunity, which I think we have not covered in our report, but somebody wants to know that. So any views from either of you?
Yeah, there is a lot of scope, and it's already happening. It's already happening. We have a lot of Indians all over the globe working for Ericsson's and the Nokias, and a lot of Indians are there. And you'll be surprised to know that Qualcomm, which has got the biggest office in Hyderabad. So Qualcomm is again telecom, basically. They are making the devices. So all the device softwares and testing is done in India. So a lot of work is already going on in India for the global people. And we have global centers for Ericsson and Nokia in Chennai and Noida. which are catering for the global requirements. People are on ground also. We have a lot of Indians going abroad and working there. And we have outsourced work, like for the IT, we have those people. So we have a lot of outsourced engineering centers for telecom in India. So there's a lot of scope there. So nothing new, it is already there.
It's going to go up.
Yeah.
So there is a huge opportunity for employment in that space as well.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah, Naren, over to you. Sorry.
Also, one more question. While we foresee huge opportunity of network upgradation for 5G rollout in near future, how do we see this as an employment opportunity in India? Also, parallelly, I would also like to put one more query because of the dearth of time. I'm just clubbing similar questions. Also, what role would an HR play since most of the skills have also gone remote now? So what role would HR play in these changing times?
My personal view, HR is yet to come up to this space, because this requirement as of now seems very urgent to my experience. That, but I can see India is well prepared, or the educational institutes have prepared themselves very well. So I can see a new curriculum coming up in a various universities.
The national education policy is also incorporating some of the need-based courses for the for taking care of the future generation, I guess.
Yeah, so I think that we are preparing that way. India will be well prepared, and as Arya mentioned, we are global. There's nothing that we can stop us.
Nothing can stop India.
Nothing can stop India, and nobody should feel rather that we are not. We are already global, and we will be doing much better than any other. Thanks to this education student educational policy, which is keeping pace with this additional requirement, which is coming up. It's a great thing happening.
Thank you for that positive note.
Since there are a lot of questions that are coming in, I would just tell the audience once again that we would take one or two questions, and rest probably the panel would definitely answer back, either reply back to the group, or we would respond back separately. The final question that we would like to take right now is, as network is moving to 5G and we are open to RAN network, will not it increase the attacks of cyber to the network, bringing data and information to risk?
I think in some portions we already covered this aspect in our previous discussions. I think if our panelists would want to discuss more about that.
In my views, yes. The answer is yes. As we open up or have more network and closely doing it, one solution which Arya was mentioning, that when we go to private networks, this risk will reduce. Also, we need parallelly the technological upgradation happening in this field, which can prevent us. And so both things will parallelly happen. And answer to this question is, obviously, when we have larger networks and we are exposed more, yes, cyber attacks or cyber security will be a concern.
And Dr. Singh, this question also is to you, is what happens with the advent of new technologies? What would happen to the obsolete technologies like 2G and all? I mean, now that the technology upgradation is also getting so fast, what about the investments that have been made on the obsolete technologies? What's the way forward there? How do we take it up?
Very interesting. We have seen the fate of 3G.
Yes.
And we could get that investment. Whatever the investment was done, we could not recover. Thanks to certain segment of India, we are still sustaining 2G, because there we need only a call. No data requirement is there. There are certain segments, and therefore 2G is, even today it is operating. So that part, I think, is taking care of that investment which was done in 2G.
Yeah.
A certain segment of India is still there, where we just recharge only for the calls and nothing else. But later than sooner, it will all go to 4G or 5G. We will not be there on the 2G for long. That cement also is upgrading. Now we can see that the upgrade is happening everywhere. And the costs are coming down. Even the energy cost is coming down. Energy cost in the new technology, you will see the operating cost, energy cost is coming down. So we will be able to make this technology affordable at the rate of 2G.
Colonel, Arya, any final views on the same question from your end?
Yeah, see, basically, what he has brought out is right, and nothing much I can add here. So we are, 3G was a big this thing, so washout. It's, you can say they couldn't get that ROI on that also, but 2G is still continuing. But 4G and now 5G would be coexisting. That's what, for quite some time now. So because 4G and 5G would coexist, and basically your devices, everything is going to change. So when you are looking at so many things, so it will take time. It won't happen overnight. It will take 2-3 years, 4-5 years. What we can say. What I could make out from the point what the questioner was asking, we are also generating a lot of e-waste here. So that is one thing which we have to take care. So there is a lot of e-waste, but it can be recycled and reused. Previously, they were sending all this equipment to Africa, where they were being used. The 3G at least equipment has gone to Africa, where it's being reused. So that is another thing which we are talking about, sustainability. Our company, especially, we have our strategy for this year is sustainable change or whatever. So we are looking at sustainability in a deep way, and we are looking at net zero and all this. So here, this is where we would also involve the operators and the IP companies to think in these lines and see how much we can reduce the waste part and recycle it and reuse it. So that's another thing. But overall, I can say it's Chak De Bharat. We are there and we are leading, and we will continue to lead. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, thank you very much, Colonel Arya. And with that, we come to an end to our webinar. And further questions, we would definitely address back all those questions as much as possible. So we thank you very much, Dr. Singh and Colonel Arya, for all the valuable inputs that you've given. And thank you, Sunil, for adding in and putting in your key inputs as well. So we shall be meeting soon as we unfold the report further to discuss on the engineering sector growth. So for the audience, just stay tuned with TeamLease Digital for more updates. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Sunil and Arya. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Sunil.
Thank you.
Thank you.